we came up with a really good girl's name. I look in a screen and I see a little something between the legs. The color is blue, so you're gonna have a brother. One thing that's been like kind of challenging for me, it's like all negative comments from people about my belly and gaining weight. I just don't want to leave my house and I just don't want to talk about it. I'm coming in this smarter, I'm more prepared and thinking more about postpartum than I did before. Well, welcome back to the Extra Stitch, and today I'm doing solo episode, which is actually my first solo episode. I've done before vlog type of episode, but this one is just me. Marina's busy today, so I'm taking over. This episode's gonna be about my pregnancy life and just like life lately, what I've been up to. First, I wanted to start with my gender reveal. That we did a couple months ago, but this is just going to be a little backstory and a little update about how it all went down. And I think Brian and Axel really, not that they were hoping for a girl, but they're really leaning into idea having a little girl. And I think it's natural when you have one boy, then the second one you're like, okay, it would be nice to have a girl. I was always into having two boys, so to me I was very open either way, and so were the guys too. It's not like they were really keen on having a girl, but it was, I would say, like a few days before we did gender reveal with the cake. I went to doctor's office and he was like, do you want to know the gender? And I said, no, I don't want to know the gender here, but you could like write on a note and then we're gonna do in our own terms. He was like, sure, no problem. So as I was doing ultrasound, the nurse, she goes on a belly with a machine, and I look in a screen and I see a little something between the legs, and I'm like, does that mean it's a boy? I didn't say anything out loud, but I was like, okay, this is very telling. Anyways, she saw me looking at the screen and she kind of turned it away. So I feel like it gave away the idea that it's going to be a boy. I left the office and doctor gave me the note. I called Brian and I was like, listen, I think I'm pretty sure it's going to be a boy. And he's like, why do you think that? I'm like, well, because I saw something between the legs. He's like, how do you know it was legs and how do you know what you saw? Maybe it was a cord. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, it could be anything, right? I'm not a specialist. So it kind of threw me off the idea of having a boy. But then, like, even my dreams, it wasn't, like, necessarily like, oh, you're going to have a boy. But I was just, like, really leaning into having a boy because, I don't know, something about that ultrasound that I saw, I was like, it's going to be a boy. Anyway, so I brought the note to this bakery called Dawn's Bakery. They, by the way, make the best coconut cakes in LA. And I brought it in and I gave the notes to the chef and I asked if they could make us a gender reveal cake. Which first I thought it's a weird thing to ask because I didn't know, maybe you think I'm crazy. But it seems so normal. It seems like they do this all the time. So to him it was not a big deal. He's like, sure, I'll take the note back there and I'll take a picture and I'll give you notes back to you just so you have it. I was like, perfect. So he folded the note, I got it back, and then a couple days later we got the cake. And it was so funny. I went to pick up the cake. Of course it's all white and nice and perfect, but I was staring at the cake with the thought of like, am I gonna see color anywhere? Maybe there's like a drip of something. It was so white and perfect that you couldn't see anything. So I was like, okay, let's go home and just cut this bad boy. Anyway, so we get the cake at home. It was a really special moment to cutting the cake. We did it with the glasses. And we tried to explain Axel prior that you know, if it's gonna be a pink color, it means you're gonna have a sister. If it's blue, you're gonna have a brother. And I feel like he was just like so shocked in that moment, or like he didn't really understand what it means, and he kept on like claiming, he's like, I'm still having a girl. I'm like, no, the color is blue, so you're gonna have a brother. It was really funny. You see, so yeah, it was like a special moment, but it was definitely, no matter what I thought before, it's still a shock moment seeing that, you know, in front of you, that you're actually gonna have a boy. So very nice moment. But the funny thing is, like, we came up with a really good girl's name, and I feel like this time around boys' names are so hard. The way they come to us, it's like really hard to decide on a boy's name. So far we have a name, I think, for him. It starts with L, so initials would be LK, but we're not sure yet. Things may change. I started planning a trip to go to Latvia. So in March, I spent more than 3 weeks in Latvia. It was somehow very important for me to go back there with Axel before the baby comes, and just to see my family. My grandparents are getting older, and Axel can hang out with all his cousins. So that was really special time, besides being really cold. I knew Latvia is not going to be warm in March, but I didn't expect it to be freezing cold. It was like -10 at one point, -10 Celsius. So I had to borrow clothes from my cousin's boys for Axel, because he was just like, I'm there. Like, you couldn't do anything. Wind was really cold, so we just spent a lot of times indoors. Which was still nice, you know, you put the fireplace on. Axel loves cooking, so we just like baked a lot of stuff, then just spent quality time with my family. But the travel there, so March I was cleared to travel, and I was like, perfect, you know, let's do it now before I get too big. But the actual flight was kind of crazy. We got to the airport, and from beginning to an end, the flight there was just like kind of a disaster. Airport was so full with people. Lines were so long, and they didn't even accept, like, I have like global entry. For whatever reason, they're like, this airline doesn't support this. Like, you have to like go on the line. And me being pregnant with Axel, I didn't have water, and I was like getting a little dizzy. Like, it was kind of gnarly. Anyways, we got through the like through the whole security thing, and then we got on an airplane, and I realized that you know, I'm just like having Axel now, running after him. You don't realize how actually you're pregnant you are. Like, you forget. And then the airplane, I was like, oh my god, my belly is in a way of everything. Like, airplanes are not built for pregnant women at all. So the flight was really challenging, just because I was so uncomfortable. Axel was good. He fell asleep, and like he slept through. I feel like now as well with Axel, when he's older, it's much easier to travel. He's much more understanding, like what means airplane, how to behave. He can relax. He can actually focus on watching TV, which he didn't do before. He just wanted to run around when he was younger, so that was more challenging. But now that he's like almost 4 years old, it was like way easier to deal with him. And I just feel like the biggest issue was actually me being pregnant and being in the air, and like my belly started feeling a little weird as well. So that was like the hard part. And then we arrived to Latvia. It was like 1:30 a.m. My brother picked us up. Hoya door. He made us late dinner. Yeah, and we just like chilled and took it easy and just like really enjoyed. I tried to take every day to the fullest in Latvia, like to have a good time for Axel. There's actually so much to do with kids in Latvia. Everything is built around kids. Not every country has that. I feel like even in US, a lot of times you go to a restaurant, you can't even change your kid. Then Latvia has like playrooms. Every big mall you go, there's like these huge, massive playrooms for kids. There's like restaurants inside of them. And like one time I took my parents there, and they could like relax, and Axel was having a blast while I went did a little shopping. So that was really nice. We did some photo shoots there as well. And, you know, most important for me as well was to see my grandparents, because they're getting older, and I just like love them so much. And so it was really nice. It's definitely different times now going to Latvia than before having kids. Because when you're on your own, you kind of like do whatever you want to do, right? Then now it's like everything you kind of have to plan ahead. And, you know, but it was fun. It's just different times right now. Yeah, and so then end of March, me and Axel came back. Flight back was much smoother, much easier. And I feel like for Axel, it was like so quick to come back from jet lag. But for me, I don't know, it's because of pregnancy. It took me almost 2 weeks to get back in the reading and like sleep normal. And actually, second trimester was harder for me to sleep, which is kind of weird. And now I'm in third trimester. Towards the end, it's actually easier for me to sleep than the second trimester. Which doesn't really make sense. With Axel, it was opposite, because, you know, towards the end, you get so much bigger and like heavier. Than now, I feel like baby doesn't have much room to like move around, so he's like more calmer, if that makes sense. So actually I sleep better. But yeah, Axel bounced back like no big deal, and he's still going to school, finishing up soon, and we're gonna switch schools for him, so that's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, having a new baby in a family, Axel starting new school. And we just moved Axel in a new room, so it's like everything is just like new for him. And I just want to make sure like he's like in a good headspace, which he seems he is. I think kids adapt really quick to things around them, but yet I'm really nervous how it's gonna be once the baby comes, and just to have a brother, have a sibling. But from other hand, I guess you just don't have choice, right? When I think back, my brother came in our family when I was 5 years old, and you just accept it because it's like, it's your family, right? Like, I never had a thought of like being jealous of him or anything like that. And I don't know if that's because I'm a girl and my brother is a boy, so maybe if it's two boys it's different. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so we came back and we kind of focus on nesting and like organizing house. And you know, it's actually so much work preparing everything. Every day there's something, I feel like. You know, we moved, Axel was in the baby room. We moved him into Brian's office, which is actually one of the biggest rooms in a house. So it's perfect for Axel to grow into. That's his new bedroom / playroom. And then Brian's office is in a guest room now. And baby's gonna come in a baby room that we repainted. Baby room is gonna be all like kind of darkish blue, gray color with like clouds. I'm gonna have to show you guys in the next episode. And then Axel's room is all like beige colors, and I think it's cute because he can grow into it and like choose his own things, whatever he wants, and like make it his. But it's like a good base color, and the room is just like happy and bright, and he loves it. Even last night, we snuggled and he said, "Mommy, I love my room so much. It's so clean." I just think because it's so light, you know, it's really cute. So he's really loving it. But we've been really focusing on nesting and preparing house and like all the things for the baby. But to be honest, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not ready because our hospital bag is not even packed yet. I don't really have much of the things. I've saved a lot from Axel, so I have a lot of things in storage that I'm gonna have to go through and like, you know, see if I can use the pieces, and like most likely I can, like the clothes and things like that. But still, there's like so many things I'm still missing and I want to prepare. And now I'm thinking it's only 6 weeks away, so like I gotta like do it now just so I'm prepared, because you never know, right? So yeah, and just like lots of doctor's appointments all the time. So speaking of doctor, my pregnancy has been really good for most part. Besides the fact that this time I got bigger quicker. That's what they say with the second baby, you just naturally get bigger quick. And then one of the visits, doctor was like, "Well, you're low on iron." And I think it's because I don't really eat meat that much. I mean, I eat fish and chicken, but not so much red meat. And now I'm kind of paying more attention to that. I take supplements. And I switched my prenatal vitamins as well. I used to use Ritual, but now I'm doing Parallel. And so far, I'm really liking Parallel because they're dividing first trimester, second, and third. So like based on your trimester, you get vitamins that you need for that time, which I think it's really cool. And then plus extra iron supplement, vitamin D, and calcium because I get cramps at night in my legs, which I didn't have with Axel. So I get crazy cramps, and that's like probably the most annoying part. With Axel, I was getting heartburns. Then this time around, I get cramps in my legs. But for most part, pregnancies have been very similar with Axel and this baby number 2. There's not much of a difference. And I think as well, because when I was pregnant with Axel, I got COVID. Like I found out I was pregnant and I got COVID the next day. And so like that first, and I didn't smell and I couldn't taste anything for over a month. So like I don't know really if things were making me nauseous or not, just because I was sick with COVID. Then this time around, I was definitely more sensitive to smells in a kitchen. Like if Brian was cooking meats and things like that, it would just like, I could not deal with that. But besides that, it's very similar pregnancies. But I carry a big boy, so it's a big baby right there. I was like, what could we like gift him? Because he's coming in this world. It would be cute to give him some kind of gift. So when Axel was born, me and Brian, we engraved this Louis Vuitton bag, travel size bag. They were like, he's gonna have this forever. It's just like a cute thing to give to your kid, use it as a hospital bag, and then he can have it for the rest of his life. So now we have to do with the little one too. So we have to buy another bag. But I think it's like a cute thing to keep in the family. Well, I did some photo shoots, some for work and some just like organized myself, like maternity shots. But I feel like I did so much more with Axel. I was like more active with taking pictures of my pregnancy and like videos. And I created books with that. And now with this baby, I'm like, I don't really have that much pictures. So I'm definitely not going to create like an album of my pregnancy. But still, we did like a few photo shoots and they were really cute. Even in Latvia, I did photo shoot with Axel in the belly. And like, so we had some memorable moments. And then there were 2 days. Latvian TV was here in LA. And they were filming this Latvian TV show. It's basically about Latvians who made it in America and who live here and they, you know, work and like build their lives out here. So I was filming with them for 2 days. I had to come up with basically showing them my life, how I live, what I do. It was big production, 2 days. I was so exhausted after. We had a really good time, but I was really, really tired. The first day, I took them to Diego Uchital's studio, and we did a little photo shoot with the host, who's this big singer in Latvia, Lauris. We had such a great time. We did photo shoot. Then we went to James Goldstein's house, which is this legendary guy who lives in LA. He's a big fan of basketball and fashion. And so it was really impressive to visit his home because it's one of the most legendary homes in LA. He does a lot of photo shoots and crazy parties there. And then the day we finished up of my house, we filmed some more here with Brian and Axel. And the next day I took them to Sound Bath in Topanga, followed by Farmer's Market in Topanga, because I love Farmer's Market. It's like my routine here in LA. Every weekend I do that. And then we came back home, I made some lunch and we went golfing. And after golf, we came back to my house and finished up filming here. Brian did some barbecue and that was really cute. We had a really, really good time. But I'm not gonna lie, I was so tired after. And this time around with my pregnancy is like, I sometimes forget that I'm even pregnant just because there's so much happening. And I'm always with Axel, super active, running after toddler. And nobody warns you when you're pregnant the second time how much more exhausted you're gonna get. Just because by the evening, I'm like, I don't have any more energy. Like I can't do anything. because I just gave my all day running around. So anyway, so that was really like a fun project. I think the show's coming out in September, but in Latvia. So all the Latvians, you can watch it very soon and see a little glimpse into my life. So yeah, so we've been, I've been trying to stay active, and like with all the photo shoots and whatnot, it's been kind of fun. But how do I feel overall? I feel really good. Not gonna lie, very nervous about giving birth. Somehow, second time around, they say you should be more relaxed, and I'm like, I feel like I'm opposite. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's like a change and you just know what to expect this time around. And it's getting harder, and I move slower now. It's like 6 more weeks left. And then one thing that's been like kind of challenging for me, it's like all negative comments from people about my belly and gaining weight. And that's been like so crazy for me, because like, when I was modeling, doing high fashion stuff, runway, you always get judged, right? Like, she's too skinny, she's too big, she's too fat, she's too that. Like, I'm used to it, and it never really got to me because, we all have our own opinions. But then for some reason in this pregnancy, like hearing every day, like, oh, how far along are you? Oh my gosh, 8 more weeks? Like, it looks like you're gonna have to give birth tomorrow. And it's like, I understand, like, like one person says that, second person, third person, but like when it is on repeat everywhere I go, it gets so annoying to the point where I just don't want to leave my house, and I just don't want to talk about it. And it's not the time to judge pregnant women. It's not my choice how baby's growing, big or small. It's like, it is what it is. I don't think it's anything to comment on, but somehow people find it very normal. And like, I'm like, I can't even explain to you how annoying it is. Why do you even need to, or like comparing, being like, oh, but you're like so much bigger than you were with Axel. Actually, I'm not. I'm actually smaller than I was with Axel. When I was pregnant with Axel, it was like way faster. I got like towards the end, I was like way bigger. So, and it's not something I even need to find an excuse for. I just thought I'm going to mention this because I'm sure lots of moms are facing this and like heard these comments. So like my advice to whoever, you don't have to be a mom to just know this. Like if you're with a pregnant woman somewhere, like just don't make those comments, just tell her how beautiful she is. Like let her enjoy that time, because it's just like maybe once in a lifetime thing, and let her just be, she's creating a human being, and there's like nothing, I just think it's really mean when someone finds it okay to say those things. So yeah, that's been like most annoying part about being pregnant. And I don't know if this is something that's just because how people are, or like when I was pregnant with Axel, I didn't hear that at all. And maybe it was because it was still kind of COVID times and I didn't really see that many people. And I feel like I really enjoyed, and I was like happy every day. And now like every day I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's almost like I don't want to go certain places just because I'm kind of insecure. And that's like so sad to say, but I'm just like being completely honest. So yeah, that can really hurt, Definitely this pregnancy seems different as well because I'm older than I was 4 years ago when I gave birth to Axel. It's just different because as well in America, if you're 35 and over pregnant, they count you as a risk group, which I think is kind of crazy. Seems still so young, 35, to be pregnant in a sense. But here it's like 35, you're in a risk group. I mean, I guess yes and no, because now I feel like I'm lacking more on vitamins. It seems like I need to take more supplements, and like with Axel I didn't have that. It was just like very like smooth and easy. Took like one type of supplement the whole pregnancy and I was like fine. Then now I'm like really paying more attention and like, taking more different supplements. And then what else I'm doing this time around different is that I'm be paying more attention about my postpartum than what I did with Axel. I think when you're first time pregnant, you're focusing so much on giving birth and so much on pregnancy. You don't really think about the aftermath. Then when you're pregnant second time, at least it's for me, now then being second time, I'm really paying attention and planning out my postpartum. I'm gonna order like meal plan. I'm organizing this meal prep plan after giving birth, as well as the bag that I'm gonna take to the hospital, which gonna have like a bone broth, ghee butter, and like the good seed breads, and like just like heartfelt like warm foods, which I didn't do with Axel. And looking back, I was like really lacking on food in general, because I was so, you're so focused on the baby, you don't even think about yourself anymore. But happy mama is a happy baby, so gotta take care of yourself. That's one thing I'm definitely changing this time around. And as well, my friends are suggesting to do these like special massages once a week for first month. I will try that out, and maybe even do placenta, but that's question mark. I'll figure it out, because it's not something I'm into. But hearing so many good benefits that my friends have done it, and doing a little research, seeing that animals do it naturally, I'm like, I mean, it's not gonna hurt to try, right? And just go for it. So I think I'm just gonna do that this time around and see if that does any wonders. And of course, every pregnancy is different, right? So like we'll see how that plans out. But that's like my beginning things after giving birth, just really focus on myself as well, besides having a baby. And of course, all attention always comes to a baby, but putting myself forward as well, I think it's just like a good thing. And then food wise, what's the different food? Is there any cravings I crave now? Not really, to be honest. Like with Axel and this baby number 2 is very similar. I'm always craving like croissants, more breads, like heartier, because I never really eat bread. So that's definitely different. But besides that, still vegetables. I'm not like a big meat eater, so that's like my problem with iron, I guess. That's why I take extra supplements, just because I'm not so much into meat. It just doesn't excite me. Yeah, and then like I really pay attention to my like skincare, body care. Actually, more body care more than ever. Like just like moisturizing my belly, and just like really making sure I don't get stretch marks and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of what I've been up to lately. Just really nesting, focusing on the baby, the pregnancy, the toddler running around, still like making sure I have enough time for Axel, and then like I have this energy to play with him. It's definitely different now. Like we used to snuggle a lot more, and he used to lie on my stomach all the time, and now he can't really lie on my stomach when I put him to sleep. But we found ways. We sleep sideways and like snuggle still though, so that's really cute. Evenings I have a problem moving around much, because I just don't have energy, and Axel goes to run around and play. So I'm like, how about we do puzzles? Or like trying to make it more easy, but we make it fun. And Brian's really into it now, and they have like this special bond, which is so cute to see. So yeah, we're just like slowly preparing for the baby, and hoping for the best. Hopefully the change will just be for better for our family. And yeah, but now I'm gonna answer some of your questions that you asked me the other day. I asked on Instagram to send me in some questions, so thank you for doing that. And here we are. We'll read some and try to answer the best I can. Do you and will you speak Latvian to the kids? Yes, I do speak Latvian to Axel, especially if it's just 2 of us. I speak to him Latvian all the time. But if it's 3 of us, then I switch to English, just because I think it's fair for Brian to understand what we're talking about. I don't want to left anyone out. And I think it's fine, we do both languages. And then if I film some Insta stories, I usually speak English to Axel. And, some words, of course, are easier for me to say in English than Latvian. But for most part, I think I'm pretty good with teaching him Latvian. And like in a car on the way to school every morning, we're listening to kids Latvian radio. He listens to Latvian songs, or I call my mom and we speak Latvian. So like everyday routine, I try to implement Latvian. And it's of course going to be a challenging road, because we're in America and everyone speaks English. It's just like a natural language that the boy's going to be raised up on. But I'm trying my best. How is your second pregnancy going compared to the first? As I mentioned, second time pregnancy is just harder. The hardest part is like negative comments. But besides that, it's been pretty similar. I wouldn't say there's a big difference between first and second. Did you have a C-section? No, with Axel I didn't have a C-section. It was natural with epidural, though, of course. Listen, I'm not like I'm pretty natural person. I don't even take Advil if I have headache. Like I try to really avoid all sorts of medicines, and I'm trying to always do bare minimum with all that stuff. But when it comes to giving birth and I mean, epidural is life. So I could not have survived without it. And, you know, I'm just being really honest, and like whatever choice everyone makes, it's great. But I'm like, why suffer if you can have a little help? And, you know, my hardest part was contractions, because they lasted forever. I mean, I was in labor for like 24 hours and I didn't sleep. And I was like, how am I going to push this baby out? Like, I haven't slept. So they gave me epidural, 1 dose. I slept it through. I woke up, and when I had to give birth and push, I felt everything. So I felt like epidural like lasted me for that time of contractions. Then finally, once I had to push, they would like guide me through the computer, seeing like how, you know, when you have to like push, they would like count, and then be like, okay, push now. And I'll be like, you guys are too slow. It needs to be fast. Like because it wore out. So like I felt everything. So I feel like I kind of did naturally, but yet like epidural helped for that time being, and it was great. Not a question, but you are glowing. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. Nice to hear good comments too. Let's see. Do you have any tips for avoiding stretch marks? Yeah, just moisturize, you know, as much as you can. Drink lots of water. I mean, it's like basic things. There's no other secret recipe for that. I just think stretch marks is unfortunately as well genetic, you know. And but to avoid them, you really have to moisturize your belly and just like, you know, take walks and stay still active, but don't forget moisturize. So I use like oils and creams and whatever I can. I just like keep on applying multiple times a day, take a nice shower. I have this very gentle scrub that I use as well on my belly in the evenings, and then I apply a lot of cream and oil. So I think that really helps. But I don't think it's any like secret ingredient for that. How long did it take for you to conceive? I mean, we didn't do like religious, like trying every single month. It just kind of happened. We didn't really have like a set goal for that. So once we found out that baby's due date is almost same day as Axel, we were kind of shocked, because we were kind of trying for like past 6 months. I mean, kind of trying, just like, you know, just having fun. So yeah, kind of relatively fast, I guess. Do you have a birth plan for your second baby? Not really. I think I'm just like go with the flow kind of person. I'm not really into doulas. I know like so many moms like are into doulas and all that like support, and that's like amazing, you know, for each his own again. For me, even when I was going to hospital, I thought I'm going to give birth by myself. I didn't even want a Bryant in a room, because I think it's just such a personal thing. Yeah, I was so happy he was in a room and he was part of it. But like a birth plan, not really. I just really want delayed cord cramping. I don't want them to cut the cord too quick. I feel like with Axel was like way too fast, because baby needs to receive all that good stuff, and then like you can cut it. I feel like they kind of rushed it, so that's like one of my regrets from Axel's birth. But besides that, no, I think I'm just like a very typical girl. I'm just like, I want to give birth in the hospital, make sure like if something happens to baby that I'm in a safe place. Just because I know myself, if I would give birth in a house, I would probably lose my mind. I need that guarantee that like if anything, that I'm in a safe place, you know. Did you have an epidural the first time? Yes, I did have epidural the first time, and I'll do the second for sure. I'm 25 weeks and I feel so huge already. I was underweight and now I gained 9 kilos already. Girl, that's okay. That's all normal. And I'm glad you gained 9 kilos already, because especially if you were underweight, that's what they say. If you're underweight, you're actually gonna gain more during pregnancy just because you need more. And I think it's like all good things. I mean, you're already 25 weeks. You're almost getting that into third trimester, so you'll be just good. Just trust yourself. Try to eat healthy. Try to stay positive. And you'll be fine. Listen, we all have our struggles, but you'll be all good. What was your first birth experience like? Like I mentioned, I was like laboring so much. I started later in the evening. I didn't say anything to Brian. He went to sleep. Because first I was like, maybe these are the false, the Braxton hacks. So I was like, maybe these are the false ones. I'm not sure. Like, I still feel fine. It's just like a little, like, just like cramping. And then I took a long shower. I realized I fell asleep. Brian was so asleep. He didn't hear me. I was just like pacing around the room as I had my app set up where I would like count contractions. Eventually they're like super consistent. So I was like, okay, that means like it's consistent. I gotta go to hospital. So I woke him up and he's like, oh my gosh, okay. Ooh. Like he went to garage, put the car seat in the car, helped with all the bags and everything. We got to the hospital and you know, doctor said, oh, you were like just 3 centimeters. So I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. 3 centimeters? I feel like I'm just gonna explode now. Anyways, they gave me epidural, so I slept all day. I was so tired. First, they're like, if you give you epidural now, you're not gonna be able to walk. I'm like, I can't even walk. I was so tired at this point. Didn't sleep all night. I'm like, was just torturing myself. It's crazy. So they gave me epidural. The second they gave me epidural, I passed that. I slept all day, and then by 5 p.m., doctor was like, I think you're ready. And yeah, the birth was really quick. 30 minutes. Actually, like birth part is so beautiful. It's so magical to me. Most disaster, it's just like everything comes before, like the contraction. It's just crazy. But that's like quick story about my birth story. But you can actually find on a previous the Extra Stitch podcast episode. There's a whole episode about how me and Rena gave birth. Okay, we'll do one more question, and then we'll wrap this up. How has this pregnancy been different than the first one? Very similar, but what I know now, it's almost like I'm coming in this smarter. I'm more prepared and thinking more about postpartum than I did before. I feel like with Axel I was not prepared, and this is something I wish people talk more about, like how difficult it is, postpartum part, and that you need that support system as much as you can. You know, it might be help, day help, night nurse, or whatever it is. That's very helpful. And for me this time around, I'm just gonna pay more attention about my postpartum recovery meal plans, and just like have like meals in my freezer that I can just take out, warm up, and like eat like nutritious good stuff. Otherwise I was really kind of like all over the place with Axel. So that's the biggest thing. And but pregnancy wise, it's pretty similar. Definitely flies by way quicker than the first time around. And I think it's because you already have one kid that you run after. And you know, every morning I wake up, my routine is like I wake up at 6:30, make breakfast for Axel, then I make him lunch that I put in his lunchbox, then I get him ready, he eats breakfast, take him to school, you know, and then he eats lunch at school, but it's like what I prepared for him. And then I pick him up around 3. And meantime, I organize the house, do errands, do some work. Some days when I work, then I have help, and she helps me, you know, picking up Axel, or Brian does it. Like, so like it's like a lot of teamwork. So like my days are very filled and busy, and so like this time it just like really flies by so quick. If with Axel I had a lot more time for myself and just like put my feet up and like relax and, you know, create albums and all sorts of things like that. And this time around it's definitely way busier, and sometimes I even forget that I'm pregnant. So yeah, but for most part it's just been fun and good journey. And as I said, I'm just like nervous how it's gonna go with two, but I'm gonna keep you updated. And yeah, next time we'll do episode, I'm gonna have to show you baby rooms, how I done everything. And in Axel's room too, baskets just arrived, so I'm like super excited to put them in and organize all his toys and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm just being nesting, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and you can relate. And if this was helpful to you, I'm really happy for that. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye.